Members of Ottawa's Afghan communities will hold a vigil on Parliament Hill this Saturday. They want to honour and mourn the deaths of at least 80 people who were killed, more than 230 who were wounded in a bomb attack in Kabul in July. The attack is being called the deadliest there since 2001, and it appears to target a group of minority Hazaras. They were marching to protest government plans for a power project that would bypass a predominantly Hazara province of Afghanistan. Ali Mirzad is one of the organizers of the vigil on the Hill on Saturday, and Hadi Hakimi is a immigration lawyer and member of the Afghan community in Ottawa. They're both with me in studio. Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello.
Ali, I'm going to start with you. ISIS has taken responsibility for this attack, but this is not the first time that the Hazara community has been the target of violence or discrimination in Afghanistan, right?
No. In fact, the discrimination against the Hazara dates of few hundreds of years. Throughout the history of Afghanistan, our people have been consistently and systematically the target of discrimination, persecution, and genocide. Fortunately, it's not something that's well known, and we're hoping that maybe perhaps through these events such as the one tomorrow, we can bring to light the sad reality and the untold story of that genocide.
So you're saying this is government related, this is beyond ISIS?
Oh yes. It's true that currently the Afghan regime has pinned that on ISIS. However, the facts on the ground point this to a far broader and deeper reality than the simplicity of that answer of being ISIS.
I'm going to come back to that in a moment, but I wanted to ask you both how the news of the attacks has affected the Afghan communities here in Ottawa. Ali, what are you hearing?
Well, as an Afghan Canadian, or any Afghan Canadians here, a resident of Ottawa or in Canada in general, we all have relatives in Afghanistan, distant or close. So it does affect us from that perspective. Otherwise, the situation in Afghanistan has been deteriorating for the last 16 years, and beyond that too, before that, during the Civil War. So in a sense, we're all following the news of back home very closely. Anytime something like this happens, it touches us very close, and you're always wondering if there's someone from your family that's there, someone has been injured. It's sad, but every time something like this happens, the first thing I think most of us we do is now with social media is probably a little bit easier, but we're all trying to contact our families to see if anyone has been injured or if everyone's okay. It's a very disturbing thing to live with.
Hadi, on top of that, you work with many new immigrants to Canada from Afghanistan. What have they told you about the Hazara discrimination they faced before coming to Canada?
Hazara today is a minority in Afghanistan. However, in the past, Hazaras were the majority in terms of population in Afghanistan. So historically, going back to 18th century, there are reports from credible sources such as UK Border Service Agency, and so it has a long report published in 2013, and it says that Hazara made up 67% of the population of Afghanistan in 18th century. However, starting from the Amir Abdur Rahman, one of the most notorious dictator of Afghanistan, and he started killing and dispossessing Hazara people from their lands and their places. And within 7 years of exterminating Hazara with the excuse of religion or ethnicity or cultural differences, and so the population of Hazara came down to 1/3 of that time, and that discrimination continued, and so Hazaras were taken slaves, and until the time of Amanullah Khan, it was 90 years ago almost. Although Amanullah officially abolished the slavery, however, practically Hazara were marginalized and excluded from all government services until, came to the Taliban, and Taliban again started exactly the same as Abdur Rahman, and there were 3-4 major ethnic cleansing attempt by the Taliban, one in Mazar Sharif in 1998, and where thousands of people were killed in Bamiyan, in Afshar, in other places.
Ali, we just have a minute left, and I just want to make this point too. You also want the federal government in Canada to take action here. So what are you asking politicians to do?
Right. So as we've pointed out, and my colleague explained, that there's a long history and tradition of violence and discrimination against our people. The majority of our Canadians probably are wondering, what the heck does this have to do with us Canadians? I mean, there's turmoil all over the world nowadays, unfortunately. So our perspective or angle being tomorrow on Parliament Hill is that of a Canadian perspective. We're not saying that Canada has to change the world. Sadly, Canada cannot do that. It's unrealistic to ask this. But what we're saying is Canada has a responsibility when it's giving Canadian taxpayers funds to a regime that's corrupt and fascist and racist in Afghanistan, to hold them accountable and to tell them, look, if you want our help, we're not going to give you the money unless you promise and you comply with human rights and these values that are fundamental and important.
We'll have to hold it there, unfortunately. But Ali Mirzad and Hadi Hakimi, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for us.